make a Hawaiian style plate lunch. For a lot of us, we don't live in Hawaii. We never lived in Hawaii, or we used to live there and we don't live there anymore. So one of the things that you do when you live in Hawaii and you want to go get a quick, decent lunch out is you'll go out and you'll get a plate lunch. A plate lunch generally will cost somewhere between $7 and $12. It usually consists of some kind of a main course, 1 or 2 scoops of rice. Usually it has some macaroni salad, and certain plate lunches will have other things, like at Grace's Drive-In you'll have kimchi on the plate. At other places you may get some japchae, or you might get some kind of a salad on there. Well, but most plate lunches have rice, salad, and it's usually a macaroni salad or potato salad and a main course. Now, plate lunches originated in the pineapple fields in Hawaii. You used to have a lot of different people from different cultures that would get together, and at lunchtime they would share bits of their food from their culture. So you will sometimes have a Japanese teriyaki along with the Korean kimchi, along with Japanese rice, along with American beef and gravy, along with macaroni salad. Macaroni salad is an American type thing. So a plate lunch is usually a mixture of cultures. It's kind of like Hawaii, multicultural. Well, we're going to do a pretty standard plate lunch here today. We start out making a teriyaki beef. And so this will be a teriyaki beef plate lunch. The first thing important to do is to make a teriyaki sauce. Now, Hawaiian teriyaki sauces are a little different than other teriyaki sauces in that they tend to be a little bit sweeter. There's more sugar in them than in other teriyaki sauces. But you can't get a really good Hawaiian style teriyaki sauce unless you know what it's supposed to taste like and you've been there. So I'm going to show you how to make something very Hawaiian style. Start out with the marinade. The marinade starts with shoyu. Kikkoman in this particular instance, and Kikkoman is a very common shoyu there. Sometimes you'll have aloha shoyu, sometimes you have other types, but it always starts out with shoyu. Now, because this is a marinade that we're going to use to soak the meat in, we're going to need quite a bit of it. So I'm going to start out with about 3/4 of a cup of soy sauce. The next thing we're going to put in here is the brown sugar. Always use brown sugar. About 1/3 of a cup packed. Again, like I said, Hawaiian teriyaki sauce is much sweeter than your standard teriyaki sauce. We need a fork to stir with. Now, along with that, we need 3 cloves of garlic, and we need about 3 inches from a ginger knot. This isn't quite enough. We're going to have to add some more. So let's get chopping. Okay, now you put in Ajinomoto. We have a giant package here which I've transferred into a spice shaker. You need to understand Ajinomoto is MSG. The S stands for sodium. It's monosodium glutamate. That means it's going to be a little bit salty, so you have to be pretty judicious in your use of MSG. It will add a certain flavor to the shoyu and teriyaki sauce that you can't get any other way. So you definitely want to use it. Let me also say, a lot of people are afraid of MSG. There have been legends going around about how it can make you sick and that type of thing. It's come out in the last few years. That's really just an issue of prejudice. People didn't like the Chinese, and Chinese use a lot of MSG in their cooking, so they would say, oh, MSG makes you sick. That's really not true. MSG is a type of salt, like any other type of salt. and it does add a certain flavor. It's derived from seaweed. And so go ahead and use some MSG, just a few dashes, because too much is going to make this salty. Now you mix it all up, and you've got yourself a nice teriyaki marinade. In order to get the flavor of teriyaki, you need to marinate the meat for at least 24 hours in a teriyaki marinade before you cook it. So we've gone ahead and we sliced up some ribeye steak, and we're going to use the ribeye steak as our teriyaki. The thing about ribeye steak is nice. It's a fatty meat. It's good. In Hawaii, you usually get packages of already chopped up or sliced up meat to use in teriyaki or bulgogi or that type of thing. Here, we don't have that here in California, and so what we're doing is we sliced up a ribeye. We've got our own sliced up meat. We're going to pour the teriyaki sauce on there. The meat covered in the sauce. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator, and we're going to marinate it overnight. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention, you can use sesame oil in it. I like to use sesame oil in my teriyaki. It's not essential, but it makes it taste good. I'm putting in just about a teaspoon of sesame oil. It is a strong flavor. It will give a strong flavor to the teriyaki, so just be aware of how much you're using. And this will make a nice marinade, which we can marinate this overnight. And tomorrow we're going to cook a Hawaiian style plate lunch. All right, it's the next day. The teriyaki has been marinating overnight. We're going to let it come to room temperature now before we cook it. And then, while we're waiting for it to warm up, we're going to make the macaroni salad. Now, a plate lunch, as I said, is always some kind of main course. In our case, it's going to be teriyaki beef. Usually a macaroni salad. Sometimes there's potato salad, but we're going to use macaroni salad. And the Hawaiian macaroni salad is a little different than other macaroni salads you've tried. It usually consists of macaroni, some kind of potato cut into cubes. I've used in the past instant potato flakes where I have no actual potatoes, but I generally tend to prefer using a cut potato. Here we're using a whole potato. We'll probably use about half of it in here. Cut it in half, cut it into 1-inch cubes. I'm going to leave the skin on because I like the flavor and texture that the skin imparts. Now, normally in Hawaiian style macaroni salad, they will put some carrots, shaved carrots in there. We don't have shaved carrots because of the quarantine. It's hard to get vegetables, so we're going to do it without the carrots. We're going to use some frozen peas in there, and then also we're going to use, again, Ajinomoto, because that is a unique flavor that you tend to find in a lot of Hawaiian style foods. And it's a very simple salad. Everybody uses Best Foods mayonnaise. It makes a difference in flavor. All right, you drain the macaroni. Throw in the potatoes. You throw in some frozen peas, just however much you like. I've got about 2 cups of macaroni there. I've got a half a potato, and I'm gonna probably put in somewhere around 3/4 of a cup of peas because I like a lot of green in my stuff. Season it with Ajinomoto. That's about a half teaspoon there. Like I said, you would put in shaved carrots if you had it. Sometimes in Hawaiian salad, they'll use tuna flakes or bonito flakes to give it sort of a seafood flavor. I don't like that in mine. I think I've said before, I'm not a big seafood fan, so I tend not to have seafood flavors in mine. We've got here about 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, maybe closer to a 1/2 cup. Mix it all together. Optional in there, if you want, is some chopped onion, but you don't need to put that in there. This is just your basic salad, and you can add whatever you want into it. And then you want to put in salt and pepper to taste, and it's done. I like a lot of pepper. In fact, I have a friend who used to cover his macaroni salad with pepper so that it looked black, and Tabasco sauce. By the way, it's about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I don't like a lot of salt. You can have more salt if you prefer it. Okay, traditional Hawaiian plate lunch. 2 scoops of rice, always. One scoop of macaroni salad. And then of course you want your teriyaki on here. Now this actually has enough teriyaki sauce covering the whole thing. You don't need more. But if you do need more, you can take your marinade, put it in a pot, let it boil for at least 2 minutes. The longer you let it boil, the thicker it gets. And you do want to boil it. You don't want to just put the marinade over there, because it's not healthy to take a marinade that raw meat has soaked in and just pour it over your thing. You'll have all kinds of problems with bacteria and stuff. If you put it in a pan, you cook it down for a couple of minutes, that gets rid of the bacteria, then your sauce is good and you can use it as an extra sauce. But as I said, there's plenty of coating here. We don't need additional sauce. We've got ourselves a nice plate lunch here.